Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, back again with some more injury news, and it's not good. Chidobe Awuzie, who had been a starting corner for the Cowboys, is dealing with what head coach Mike McCarthy called a multi-week hamstring injury. He's not going to play Week 3 against the Seattle Seahawks, and with the new NFL RI rules, he could be heading to injured reserve for a couple of weeks here. Now, Awuzie, I know not all of you like him, and even though he'd allowed about 2/3 of his targets to be caught, he'd only given up 60 yards, 2 touchdowns are bad, but he'd broken up 2 passes and had the interception back in Week 1. In reality, he was at least your second best corner, I'd argue, by a pretty significant margin. So Trevon Diggs remains as, well, he's cornerback 1 right now for Dallas. Jordan Lewis, I think, will remain in that nickel corner role, but he wasn't very good against the Falcons. That leaves, I think, in terms of internal options, Daryl Worley as the next man up in terms of who's going to play for Awuzie while he's out. When Chido left that game against the Falcons late in the fourth quarter, it was Worley who got the reps on the outside. He's been playing both cornerback and safety this year for the Cowboys, but with Awuzie out, and again, Reggie Robinson being more of a redshirt year guy, CJ Godin being a special teamer, you're almost going to have to play Worley full-time at cornerback right now. So when I look at this secondary, I think it's too thin. I think you have to go out and add somebody, even if it's just from the practice squad, which we'll get into later on in this video. But what do you guys think? Should the Cowboys add a corner? Type 1 for yes or type 0 for no. This will be the pinned comment, so head on down and get your votes in. Now, I briefly mentioned Reggie Robinson. He's kind of in an awkward spot, much like Daryl Worley, where he was drafted as a corner, but he had moved over to safety. I think he's in reality in more of a redshirt year. I don't think he's ready. I'm not counting on him to emerge as a sudden starter opposite Trevon Diggs. Now, the Cowboys do have one extreme veteran, age 34, in Brandon Carr, but he'd more or less been moved to safety. He's not really a cornerback anymore at this stage of his NFL career. So you're in this awkward position, right, where Brandon Carr, Worley, and Robinson are kind of the next options when it comes to the secondary and replacing Awuzie, but they've all been playing safety. And safety's an issue already, so I am concerned about this Cowboys secondary. I want to hear your guys' votes too. What's your panic level at right now? Rate this for me on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you're not concerned at all. It's the best secondary in the NFL. 10 being you think you have to go out and sign 4 different players just to make it passable. I am more concerned about like a 6 or a 7 because in Week 3, you have the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know if you guys have watched them play. Russell Wilson is being allowed to cook, and he's lighting up everybody. They torched the Patriots secondary. DK Metcalf made Stephon Gilmore look like Awuzie. That's not a good sign at all. The Seahawks are a 5-point favorite. Now, we are doing something a little bit different this week for you guys. I want you guys to predict the score of this game. First person, by the way, to correctly predict it gets $25. Now, you can put them in the comments. Please feel free to do so. However, I want you guys, in order to be eligible to win, you have to email cowboys@chatsports.com. We've had some issues with certain people, no names, editing their score after the game ends, even though we can see you edited it. I don't feel like dealing with it anymore. So just email us, cowboys@chatsports.com. The first person to correctly predict it will Venmo you guys $25. Let's dive into some non-roster replacements for Awuzie. Earl Thomas, let me explain. This actually makes a lot of sense, I believe, if you're going to deal with the off-the-field stuff for ET, which so far the Cowboys haven't wanted to do so. The secondary, as mentioned, is thin at best at both corner and safety. Daryl Worley had already started to kind of rotate in and replace Darian Thompson. So too had Brandon Carr. And Robinson has been a safety this past year, and so is Carr. If you want to solidify corner, here's my idea. You're going to have to move Worley full-time to cornerback. I don't trust Darian Thompson right now. He's been pretty bleh. Brandon Carr's a nice veteran, but he's not an impact player, I don't think, at this stage of his NFL career. You're down, in all honesty, 2 of your top 3 corners for at least 3 weeks here. So why don't you move Worley full-time to corner and go out and sign an Earl Thomas or even an Eric Reed or any safety? You can solidify the safety spot and allow Worley to move full-time to corner to fill that need, especially since there's not many good corners, but there are plenty of good safeties. And I know the answer to this question is going to be yes, but I'm still going to ask it. With Awuzie out, is now the time to go get Earl Thomas? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Let's go to some more typical cornerback replacements here. I will warn you guys, folks, it is not good in terms of the options out there. Prince Amukamara could not make the Las Vegas Raiders. That is extremely troubling to me. But when you look at the available options entering Week 3, no surprise, it's pretty poor. I think Amukamara is still the top outside guy, and he'd be a short-term replacement. He kind of fits what I think the Cowboys want to do. Had a bunch of pass breakups last year, but he couldn't beat out what I consider to be not great Raiders secondary. That's super concerning. And again, I'll make this note briefly here. When you are trying to add somebody, they have to go through COVID protocols, which means if you can get a Amukamara in right now for a workout, he wouldn't help you in Week 3. It'd be a Week 4 or Week 5 option. That is going to be a problem for the Cowboys as they try to replace Chidobe Awuzie. Now, we do still have our BetUS deal available. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. The promo code, Cowboys125, that will get you a 125% deposit bonus. What that means is you put down $100, they're going to give you $125 on top of that. It's chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code, Cowboys125. Let's go to Morris Claiborne, another reunion. It's been the year of the reunions for the Cowboys. Former number 6 overall pick, played a little bit for the Chiefs last year. There is some familiarity here, and I think that could matter if the Cowboys actually go outside the organization to sign somebody. The front office knows him. Is Claiborne very good? No, not really. But when you look around the NFL, he had 2 picks in 2018. Again, didn't play much in 2019. We are scraping the bottom of the barrel. I am sorry. I know it is not great. That's why I mentioned adding a safety and moving Worley full-time to corner. But as a reminder, this is all about Chidobe Awuzie replacements. But the show is not really about me. It's about you guys. So who do you want the Cowboys to add to replace Chido? It could be a free agent, a trade option, who we'll get to in a second. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Again, familiarity here in a different way with Trevor Williams, who played a lot for Green Bay last year and spent the majority of his NFL career playing under Mike McCarthy in Green Bay. Now, offense, defense, there's a difference there, but he's a veteran. He has mostly played the nickel corner spot the past few years. That could be a problem, but I thought he actually played pretty well last year for Green Bay. Now, he is 37 years old. I think that's an issue. But in terms of having some familiarity, some knowledge with McCarthy and the head coach, and if he'd be a good locker room fit, I think it might make sense for Dallas, especially if you're going to try and gamble and put Lewis on the outside instead of keeping him in that nickel corner spot. I will throw out one trade idea. Please don't mention Patrick Peterson, Stephon Gilmore in the comments. It's not going to happen. Those teams are contending. They're not going to trade away their number 1 corner. William Jackson, though, is playing for a bad Cincinnati Bengals team. He is also in the last year of his contract. He was awesome in 2017, bad in 2019. So far, though, has bounced back, I think, pretty impressively, allowing sub-60 completion percentage, only 81 yards, yes, the 1 touchdown, but an interception, 3 pass breakups. I think he is a very good corner, and that is why I'm offering, I think, a pretty deep package here for the Bengals. A 3rd-round pick. Now, I'll make this a conditional draft pick where if the Cowboys miss the playoffs, it becomes a 4th-rounder. It could be the potential Byron Jones 3rd-round comp pick if they make the playoffs, an outright normal 3rd-round pick if they win the Super Bowl or something. So let me know who you think says no. Type B for the Bengals, C for the Cowboys. The Bengals did get trade offers at the trade deadline last year for Jackson. They rejected all of them. But now that he's in the last year of his deal, and because they're bad again, if they don't want to pay him, you might be able to get a better trade offer than a potential 3rd or 4th round future comp pick if they were to lose him into free agency. So I don't think Peterson and Gilmore are available. William Jackson might be, so I wanted to include him as a trade option. Now, in terms of the immediate replacements, how you fill a roster spot, hypothetically speaking, if you were to see Awuzie go on IR, there are 4 corners on the practice squad: Deontay Burton, Rashard Robinson, Chris Westry, Savion Smith. Don't get your hopes up right now for Westry or Smith. Those are much more developmental guys. The name I'm going to watch out for the most is Deontay Burton. Spent the year on the Cowboys practice squad. He's been protected multiple times, including this week by the Cowboys. Remember, you can protect 4 guys each week. He's played some in the NFL before, former receiver at Kansas State, moved to corner. He could be a name to watch out for. The intriguing name, though, is Rashard Robinson, who was a 4th-round pick by the Niners, has played for the Jets, bunch of off-the-field issues, but very much fits the physical profile. And despite not being in a camp this year, the Cowboys chose to protect him on their practice squad, which was very interesting to me. He is a complete unknown right now, but those are the 2 guys to watch out for in terms of potential practice squad promotions, with Awuzie set to miss time.